morning, good afternoon, or good early evening. This is Josh Burke at Vail Academy in high school, and today's presentation will be on digital citizenship, controlling technology in your classroom, managing it, and specifically learning about some tricks on Netref, an online management school. I can't change the world, but I can change the world in me. One of my favorite bands, U2, wrote this song, but I think it applies to what this lesson will be about. We can't, as teachers, educators, go over what's happening across the world, but what we can do is we can help change what's going on in our classroom. We have control over that. And going through this presentation, you'll learn some tricks, and Netref is your friend managing your kiddos. What is our objective? Teachers will learn how to use Netref in an online digital management tool to make sure their students are learning in a safe and supportive environment. This will connect with our Arizona EdTech standards of digital citizenship. Students recognize the rights, responsibilities, and opportunities of living, learning, and working in an interconnected digital world, and they act in models and ways that are safe, legal, and ethical. Now, this is elementary, and you're thinking, well, kids are younger, but we want to protect them as they get older, learn some tools to be safe online, not only in school, but at home and out in society. So, what we'll do, we'll get some tricks, some tips, some interesting things that you can use in your classroom, learning about Netref and technology. Teachers will be able to see how they can safely observe what their students are doing, and if needed, show students how to make better decisions while they are online. Questions that you can come out from this, definitely you can email me at burkej@vailschooldistrict.org. What do you recommend for certain sites? What should I do if a student is doing something they're not supposed to? Things like that. All right. So all of us here in Vail use Schoology. So one of the things that is pretty cool, you want to try maybe looking at what your students see. I know we're balancing a lot of things at once, wearing different hats, but did you know that in Schoology, if you go under your class name on the top left, you can click course options and view course as, so you can actually see what your kids see. So this is a good way of understanding their viewpoint. It also shows, what you do in Schoology can be a little bit different what they do. If you're publishing, unpublishing folders or files or assignments. You can also, if you're techie savvy, you can go into your Chrome browser, and other browsers can have this feature as well, but for the most part we use Chrome in Vail. And you click under File and New Incognito window, type in the kids' login and password, and you can see how they see it as well. You must model how to use technology, just like any procedure or assignment. Going to an assembly, going to specials, being dismissed, etc. You need to spend, maybe not the first day of school, but definitely right before you give out your devices. Having a system in place on how the students get the devices and how they put them away at the end of each day. What I do is I assign 2 students per week to be the class tech team, and they just love it. It's one of the most popular jobs that they can have, along with line leader and teacher assistants, etc. They also actually learn how to assist others. Say we're having a new tool and everyone's logging in, and you have that 1 or 2 student that just, I didn't help. I see kids just automatically. I don't even have to. So it's a great thing. Kids love it. At this age, they love to assist others. Not just the teacher, but fellow classmates. Tips to use. If kids are online, maybe they're listening to something, or text is being read back to them, I put my 2 hands over my ears and I go right to left on them, and that's a visual cue that is time to listen to the teacher or to someone else, or something very important. It's a nonverbal cue, so using nonverbal is a great way, especially if they have headphones on. I also have students always close their tabs before we make a transition to a specials or recess, etc. It saves battery and screen life. This ensures that when we start another subject, their computers are ready to go. A blank slate, so to speak. Just like if you had a slate or paper, your kids, okay, it's time to move from math to reading. You don't want to have too much on their desk, just like on a computer. You don't want to have too many tabs open where the kids don't know where to go, they get lost on the wrong tab. You just want a blank slate, so to speak. You want to balance technology and traditional assignments. In my classroom, especially if you're doing something like writing, you wouldn't teach students to write something over and over and over. So the same thing applies to technology. You don't want a student to be staring at a screen for 6-7 hours a day. Just like, we shouldn't be looking at our phones 6-7 hour days, especially during the school day. So it's a good thing. Technology is great, but you need to balance traditional, maybe start a writing assignment on an organizer, and then they work their rough draft, and then maybe type in their final draft, something like that. Several useful sites that will assist you with giving students breaks and that help with management. Classroom management tools. First couple, classroomscreen.com. It is a free site. Basically, it has like a timer. You can put up notes. You can put up an image if you're doing a lesson. If you do want to pay, it's about $29 a year. Or you can, ask your principal, PTSO, maybe a group of teachers can get a group discount per year. The caveat of having the free one, once you close it out for the day, you have to start up again the next day. You can't save different things. ClassDojo is a classic, great management tool. You can connect with parents. Parents love it. You can download an app to their phone. You can go online as well. Taking breaks, that's extremely important. You don't want, just like you don't want the kids fidgeting all day, it helps. You want to have that, relaxing thing. Play some music, jazz music. I love jazz music. Something, quiet, relaxing. And Go Noodle, that's a classic. Get the kids out of their seats, exercises, especially those days. Maybe there's bad weather. Maybe the PE teacher, you have PE, they cancel or something like that. You want something to get the kids out and about. Chromebooks, the device that most of the students use. Same thing if you use iPads or Chrome tablets. You want to make sure that they're carefully handled. Safety, handling, you want 2 hands, maximizing the life of the Chromebook. I do have a link on the picture on the right is something I created that I go over with the students. The tech team looks at these all the time. But it's basically a document you can edit. If this link doesn't work, maybe we can put that in the comment file for the YouTube. But you can always email me at burkej@valeschooldistrict.org, and I can obviously share the link with you. So it has basic things. Always hold with 2 hands. Never, never, never eat or drink near your Chromebook. Wash your hands, especially if you just came in from recess or ate something, Doritos or something like that. All right, next part. This is the big part. This is like the greatest thing in the world. Especially if you're new and your kids, you're going to be using a lot of Schoology, using a lot of different ed tech tools. What is it? Netref is an application that gives you a number of options for allowing internet and application use for your class. You can essentially gain the ability to use an on-off switch for the internet or on your students' computers, whether your students are learning in class or remotely. Now, it's a wonky HTML coding here, HTTPS //twice.cane.netref.com, or you can just Google it. So that's the website you want bookmarked. I have it, the tab on my computer, especially during like reading groups, independent time. When I'm working with some students, I can see what the other kids are doing. So some housekeeping. I would go to the website, but for FERPA rules, I didn't want to show students' names. So some of these slides you have there'll be a gray box. That's just keeping privacy of students. So there's nothing wrong with the presentation. It's just some things. So the first thing, when you log in, on the right side you'll see your name. Top right, you see the beginning of my name right here. Just some housekeeping things you do. I like to keep the student view options at both. Basically, when we get to the student view, you can see a screenshot of what they're working on and the actual tab that they are, the web address as well. So these are something you just want to play with. On the bottom left is class options. So in elementary, you really only have one class per day. Maybe some schools have two. They switch. I know here at Vail Academy, 5th graders, they switch. So they would have 2 classes open. But this is just some housekeeping things that you don't need to see all these. Again, this is on the bottom left of the Netref screen. These little eyeballs, you close them out, you won't have to see them. You can see one. So as you can see, I just have the 3rd grade attendance there. Okay. On the admin panel, this is a big part where you want to start as well. On the right side, you have some things that you can start out with before class starts. You have a check mark, means everyone is on the internet, and X, you would click on that, everyone's off. Green dot means that the student is currently logged in. Underneath each student's name is a list of the most recent websites he or she has visited. Click each box to see what you can do for each student. So we'll get to that shortly. The globe that you see here is where you can modify the allow list, which is this check mark here, or the block list, meaning if you click on it, the students can't go to those sites. If you click on the allow list, they can only go to the sites that you set up as allowed, like Schoology, Performance Matters, ones that you automatically want them to go to. So here's a little close-up view of that admin side. As you can see, the check mark in the clipboard is allow only students, only listed sites. The exclamation is block only. The globe is where you want to modify. You would modify a list of allowed and blocked applications. And then more options, you can actually send messages to some students or all students. And there's actually some shortcuts I'll show you at the end of this presentation. When you're in the student individual site, there's open sites, and there's limit tabs, how many tabs they can have open. So this is all from the right side. And here's you have a student view. As you can see, the gray is blocking out students' names. This is a way of looking at tabs only at the top screenshot. The bottom one has both. So going back to that first part of preferences on the top right, you can manage this whichever way you want to see it. You can actually make these screenshots, these squares, bigger. It's a pretty cool feature. Now, before we get into other things, I just wanted to talk about digital citizenship. When we're talking about websites, we want to make sure the kids' privacy and information is protected. So maybe you find a website, your tech team hasn't talked to you about it, but you want to try out. What I recommend, and any tech person would recommend, you don't want to connect it to the Vail accounts without permission, that it's been vetted for FERPA compliancy. What you can do, obviously check it out. Make sure there are no ads. If it looks sketchy, talk to someone else, see what they think before we go any further. If you think it looks okay, put in like student 1, student 2. Then in a separate spreadsheet, student 1 means, like Bono. Student 2 would be like Larry. Student 3 would be Sinead, or other names that are in your class. So this is just something handy dandy. I Googled this on the web, so I just thought it was appropriate, and it looks pretty. So when you're in the student view, you'll see this. As you can see, it's the same 4 icons around the eye that we saw in the admin. If you click the checkbox, that means the kid is allowed. The X, that means they would be off. The checkbox on the clipboard will be only allowed list, and that's set up at the admin panel. And then the information, we'll get more into that, some tricks on that. So before you get to the students, you want to create those lists here with the allow and the block. Okay. Messaging students, you can send messages, and this is what it looks like. You can send, hey, a reminder, hey, you're supposed to be working on this, you can send, hey, what's the capital of Arizona? And the first student comes up to your desk, gets a reward. We have Boxer Bucks here. You can push a site to students. Say the kids are working on, say, like the Titanic, and then you found a great website. You can actually send it to them rather than post it on Schoology. Then they have to go back and then all that stuff. So it's a pretty cool feature. Some shortcuts. When you are in student view, that's the one where you have the blocks of every single student. When the student is not online, the left, you can right click basically with your mouse or control with a trackpad, and you can push a site, you can send a message, and you can leave a tab for that student. When they are online, like you can see in the background, blur it out a little bit. Again, my students' names are covered as much as possible. There's a lot more options here. This is just a cool little feature, so you don't always have to go back to that admin site when you're live with the students. Reports. Say there's an issue, working with your AP, you can run reports, the bottom left of your screen, the student reports and class reports. So basically, what it comes down to is that Netref doesn't replace your normal classroom management expertise. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, email, at burkej@vailschooldistrict.org. Thank you.